Today we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing fractions. So the main thing to remember when you divide fractions, just like Jackie says here, to divide fractions you have to change the division into multiplication. So the algorithm to do that, remember an algorithm is a process or a set of rules. That process to multiply or divide fractions is this. First, you have to change your mixed numbers into improper fractions. If you do not remember how to change mixed numbers into improper fractions, first thing you need to do is ask one of the partners in your group. And then if that doesn't work, because we don't have that in our notes yet because it's a review, then you can use the form that's on Schoology to ask me for help. So you will need to change your mixed numbers into improper fractions. Then to divide, like it says, you have to change your multiplication into division. You probably learned this as copy, change, flip, or copy, dot, flip, or copy, change, change. But the actual math terminology is you multiply by the reciprocal. So reciprocal is when you flip a fraction upside down. So you will copy the first number, change divide to multiply, and then you will use the reciprocal, you'll flip your second number, which is what it says right here. Copy the first fraction, change divide to multiply, flip the second fraction, and then you'll go straight down to your multiplication rules. When you multiply, you just multiply across. You multiply the numerators, you multiply the denominators, and then you simplify if possible. Some people try to skip the rewriting step with the multiply the reciprocal, the copy, change, change. I recommend not doing that. So example 1, we have 7/6 divided by 4/3. So 7/6, we copy the first number, change division to multiplication. So change division to multiplication, and then we use the reciprocal. So 4/3 turns into 3/4. Now you do have another option here. You could cross simplify. Remember, when you cross simplify, you find a factor of both the numbers. So 7 and 4, the diagonal numbers, 7 and 4 don't have any factors in common. But 3 and 6 both have the factor of 3. So you can do 3 divided by 3 and get 1, and 6 divided by 3 to get 2. So when you cross simplify, it makes your math work a lot easier. 7 times 1 is 7. 2 times 4 is 8. So we multiplied our numerators, we multiplied our denominators, and our final answer is 7/8. Remember, that's not the only way to divide. There's a lot of other models that you learned in 5th and 6th grade. However, in 7th grade, we mostly use the algorithm. So now our next example, we have a whole number divided by an improper fraction, or by a mixed number. So we have to turn both of those into improper fractions. Remember, to turn a whole number into a fraction, there's always a 1 underneath it. So remember, the bottom number is how many pieces it's cut into. So 8 pieces cut into wholes would be 8/1. And then our mixed number here, we need to turn into an improper fraction, where you would multiply first. 5 times 1 is 5. And then you add the numerator. 5 plus 4 is 9. So we get 9/5. So our new division, 8. Our new division sentence is 8/1 divided by 9/5. Now we're ready to change our division into multiplication. So 8/1, copy the first number, change division to multiply, and then 9/5, we will flip it, find the reciprocal, which is 5/9. Now I cannot cross simplify this because there are no common factors of 5 and 1 or 8 and 9 except for 1, and that doesn't do us any good. So I multiply across. 8 times 5 is 40. 1 times 9 is 9. So I get 40/9. Now the good news is in 7th grade, most of the time we just leave our fractions improper. So this cannot simplify because the only factors of 9 are 9 and 3, and 9 doesn't go into 40 and 3 doesn't go into 40. You could use your multiplication table to check that if you wanted to. So you could turn it back into a mixed number if you want to, but it's fine to leave it an improper fraction and save a step. Now our next two examples. Example 3, we have 5/2 divided by 5/7. Once again, we don't have any mixed numbers to change improper. So I go straight to copy, change, flip. So I copy my 5/2, change division and multiplication, use the reciprocal, I flip 5/7 to 7/5. And now I can cross simplify here because 7 and 2 don't have any common factors, but 5 and 5 have a common factor of 5. So I can do 5 divided by 5 and get 1, 5 divided by 5 and get 1, and we will end up with 1 times 7 is 7, 2 times 1 is 2, so we get 7/2 when we cross simplify. If you don't want to, you do not have to cross simplify. We could have just multiplied here and simplified at the end, we would get the same answer. So if we do that, 5 times 7 is 35, 2 times 5 is 10, so we would have gotten 35/10. And then when we simplify, 35 and 10 both have 5 as common factors. So 35 divided by 5 is 7, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. Notice we would have still gotten the same exact answer, whether you cross simplified or you simplified at the end, it's the same. The only benefit is cross simplifying, you deal with smaller numbers. And the last example, 4 and 4/5 divided by 1 and 1/2. They're both mixed numbers, so we need to change them into improper fractions. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 plus 4 is 24. Then we keep the same denominator. So I have 24/5 divided by 1 and 1/2. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So we get 24/5 divided by 3/2. Then I'm ready to, notice it looks like we can cross simplify, but we can't because we can only do that with multiplication. We can't do that until we've changed it to multiply. So we get 24/5, copy the first number, change division into multiplication, find the reciprocal, 3/2 will simplify to 2/3. So 5 and 2 do not have any common factors. However, 24 and 3 do. So 3 is a factor of both 24 and 3. Sorry, don't write that because where's my undo button? We would do 3 divided by 3. Come on, undo. There we go. 3 divided by 3 and get 1, and 24 divided by 3 to get 8. Now we multiply across. 8 times 2 is 16. 5 times 1 is 5. So our final answer there is 16/5. If you want to turn it into an improper or into a mixed number, you can, but it's fine to leave it improper. Just make sure that it will not simplify. Nothing will go into both 16 and 5 because 5's only factor are 5 and 1. We don't care about 1. It doesn't do us any good. And 5 doesn't go into 16. So we can't do anything with that. Now you are ready to practice this skill.